Let's dive straight into an essential topic that appears in every single Cambridge accounting examination series, the books of prime entry. If you're preparing for your Cambridge AS and A-Level 9706 exams, you already know this topic is absolutely unavoidable. But here's the secret we're going to unlock for you today. Treating this topic as just a basic bookkeeping exercise is a massive, critical mistake. In this explainer, we are going to completely shift your perspective. We're going to take you from a student who is simply trying to memorize accounting rules and turn you into a strategic thinker who knows exactly how the marking scheme works. We are going to look at this strictly through the examiner's lens.
Now, you might think you know your sales and purchases journals inside out. You might be perfectly comfortable logging an invoice or drafting a credit note. But if that's the case, why do students consistently drop points on multi-stage analysis and method marks? Why is it that year after year, candidates who understand the basic math end up with mediocre grades when they tackle those high-tariff 9 to 15-mark questions? It all comes down to a fundamental disconnect. Let's look at the anatomy of command words. There is a world of difference between analyze and evaluate, or explain and to what extent. Analyze means digging into the parts, whereas evaluate demands a judgment. Explain requires a clear description, while to what extent forces you to weigh competing factors. If you don't grasp these hidden constraints, you're leaving marks on the table.
To really answer that question, we have to look directly at what the experts say. This quote from the Principal Examiner Reports tells us literally everything we need to know. Isolated knowledge isn't enough. You need to connect the dots. The examiners are explicitly telling us that the highest bands of marks, the absolute distinction level grades, are reserved for candidates who understand that an entry in a journal doesn't exist in a vacuum. If you approach an exam question purely factually, you will hit a ceiling very quickly. You absolutely have to demonstrate conceptual perspective. You need to show how one single number cascades through the entire accounting system.
Today, we're covering 1. The examiner's lens, 2. Core accounting principles, 3. The method mark strategy, 4. Avoiding examiner traps, and 5. The exam execution checklist.
Section 1. The examiner's lens.
These 5 core books are the foundation of your accounting architecture. We've got the sales journal, the purchases journal, the respective returns journals, the cash book, and the general journal. But listen closely here, because this is crucial. The examiners aren't just testing your ability to fill out a grid or copy numbers from a stimulus text. If you are just mechanically plotting numbers into columns, you are only hitting the most basic assessment objectives. Imagine I'm taking a digital highlighter right now to an exam prompt. The examiner's lens is focused entirely on whether you understand the hidden constraints and the broader financial narrative of the business. It's about context, not just calculation.
Section 2. Core accounting principles.
Let's run a quick thought experiment. Imagine 2 scholars working together in a study suite. We'll call them Alex and Sam. Alex is highly technical, a total whiz at formulas, but struggles with open-ended evaluation. Sam is a highly creative thinker, fantastic at building arguments, but sometimes lacks structural precision. They're debating a complex question about a misplaced invoice. Alex wants to just balance the books and move on. Sam wants to write a broad essay about business ethics. The bridge between them is understanding causal relationships. It's not just about where the number goes, Alex's focus, but why it matters to the rest of the syllabus, Sam's focus. When you log a transaction in the general journal, how does that systematically influence the trial balance, the financial statements, or the correction of errors? That's the cross-topic integration you need.
So, how do Alex and Sam unlock those top-tier marking bands? By combining their strengths into these 4 pillars. Your answers must always include precise definitions, systematic analysis, evidence-based reasoning, and that vital cross-topic integration. Alex brings the precision and the systematic approach. Sam brings the reasoning and the broader integration. By merging these skills, you transform your work from a generic list of isolated numbers into a high-scoring, targeted analysis that directly hits assessment objectives 1, 2, and 3. This is exactly how you prove your conceptual framework to the examiner.
Section 3. The method mark strategy.
Before we dive into exactly how you can secure marks even when your final numbers are off, let me pause for a quick second. If you want to consistently crush your Cambridge exams and master these high-level strategies, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Ace the exams, IGCSE, O, and A levels. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications right now, so you never miss our weekly Cambridge breakthrough strategies. All right, back to our scholars, Alex and Sam. They're actively drafting a response, but they've hit a massive roadblock. Alex made a minor arithmetic error early on in a massive 3-column cash book problem. Panic sets in, and they think the whole answer is ruined.
But here is the cognitive strategy to get unstuck. Cambridge rewards your structural procedure. The examiner will look at your subsequent steps, and if your procedure is correct, based on your own flawed figure, they will award you the method marks.
But to get those method marks, your procedural framework has to be absolutely flawless. This is how we take a flawed section and rewrite it into a full mark response. You must follow these 4 strict conventions. First, apply proper headings. Never forget to clearly label your columns. Second, select appropriate formats. Third, use correct terminology. This means using exact accounting terms rather than vague descriptions. And fourth, execute clear annotation. Your dates must be in order, and your general journal entries must always have a clear, precise narrative annotation beneath them. If your structure is perfect, you build an unbreakable safety net for your grade. Process is truly just as vital as the destination.
Section 4. Avoiding examiner traps.
Welcome to the interactive workshop segment of our explainer. According to the Principal Examiner reports, there are 3 massive, recurring mistakes students make year after year on this exact topic. These are the exact roadblocks that take a potential A grade and drag it down. Let's dissect the correct paths, explain the marking criteria, and reveal the exact traps set by examiners so you never fall into them. Imagine you're looking at a poorly written student answer right now. Can you spot the flaws? These 3 traps are absolutely lethal. First, using the wrong approach for the wrong context. Second, forgetting format and presentation, which we already know destroys your chance at those crucial method marks. But look very closely at the third point, providing answers that are not specific to the context given. This is the biggest examiner alert of all. If a question gives you a specific data source, a specific business, with specific constraints, and you just write down a memorized textbook definition, you are going to score a 0 for evaluation. You have to link it back.
This completely, brilliantly illustrates the difference. On one side, we have the average candidate. They see the words cash book, they panic, and they just start listing generic facts. But on the other side, we have the top-scoring candidate. They deploy context-linked evaluation. They extract data directly from the prompt. They weave the business's specific scenario into their answer, and they justify every single decision with evidence. They aren't just reciting a textbook, they are solving a real-world problem.
To hit those top marking bands, you must act like an auditor. When the command word is evaluate, you cannot just explain what a journal is. You must question the assumptions provided in the data. You have to consider different perspectives. For example, how might a supplier view this specific transaction versus how the business owner views it? And you absolutely have to justify your decisions with hard evidence extracted from the stimulus materials. This is what critical, high-level analysis looks like in Cambridge accounting.
Furthermore, when a high-tariff question asks you to compare, perhaps comparing the utility of different prime entry books or different methods of recording, don't just list 2 separate ideas in 2 separate paragraphs. That is a classic amateur mistake. You must explicitly show similarities and differences using comparative connectives like whereas, however, or in contrast. You must support each with evidence and, crucially, draw a conclusion about their relative importance. This is what we call the paragraph balance formula, and it's essential for structuring a winning argument.
Section 5. Exam Execution Checklist.
When you open that paper, I want you to immediately follow this 4-step sequence to shift your brain from panic mode to methodical, examiner-aligned execution. Step 1 is the 3-step question scan. Deconstruct the command word, identify the core content, and extract the context data. Step 2, select your analytical framework. Ask yourself, are you just explaining or are you evaluating? Step 3, execute with that flawless presentation to guarantee your method marks. And Step 4, verify and present using strictly professional terminology. I want you to burn this table into your memory. Use this strategy table as your last 5 minutes review checklist. When you think you are done with a question, pause. Look at your formatting. Are the headings there? Look at your context. Did you actually name the business from the prompt? Look at your analysis. Did you explicitly show similarities and differences? And look at your evaluation. Is there hard evidence justifying your decision? This checklist guarantees you haven't fallen into any of those classic examiner traps we talked about.
So take a really hard look at your study habits today. Are you just memorizing accounting formats, or have you truly mastered the examiner's lens? Crushing these Cambridge exams requires consistent, applied strategy, not just hard work. The next time you open a past paper and see a blank general journal, ask yourself, are you just logging a transaction, or are you telling the financial story the examiner is waiting to read? Remember, mastering this takes practice.
Make sure you hit the subscribe button for Ace the Exam's IGCSE O and A levels, turn on the notification bell for more incredible exam hacks, and leave a comment down below with your target grade so we can cheer you on. Thanks for watching this explainer, and we will see you next time.